And this is where the problem starts. If you see this Kiriko gameplay, you might ask yourself, is this actually the way you would position as a Kiriko? Hello YouTube, Yasha here, welcome to this video. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you for being here. So let's talk about actually positioning after character switch. And this is a topic that most people kinda do not have on the radar, but it's a kind of a common thing I see in many watch reviews. So what happens is that we take, for example, a player like this. And this is a low level game, so you will see a lot of mistakes, but let's not focus on those. Let's check on the positioning of this Anna. So you see, we have an Anna right here, Cusco, a random player. I'm sorry if you're Cusco, I'm not meaning you personally, it's just an example. And this, how does this Anna position? Well, basically her team, here the red ones, they want to walk through this choke, so they go through here or there somewhere. And so this Anna just kind of positions in a way that she kind of can see her teammates and heal everyone more or less, while being a little bit further behind. And if the team walks through, she just follows the same path, a little bit delayed, right? Just one might say random Anna positioning. Now you can talk now about how to position this Anna. And in general, I don't want to talk about how to position specifically on Anna in this guide. Just a few keynotes as well. You have basically two choices. Either you position for good anti-nades, or you position so that you can heal and damage in a good way and use your cooldowns kind of. Like you choose one and optimize for that, right? And then you, if you have decided what your win condition is, you decide, well, what is the safest position to do this thing. So leaving here from spawn, not knowing what the enemies have, you might be a little bit, like for my case, it's a little bit too far behind, but because there's no reason to be so far behind, like you can just stay a little bit closer. So it would be easier for Genji, for Mei, and for Kiriko to help this Anna against this Tracer. But again, this is a low level match, so this Anna doesn't have encountered many strong Tracers yet, because Tracers is really a non-factor in lower SR, usually, so she's not used to getting spawn killed, so she never adapted, right? It's totally fine, that's fine. Now, what I want to mention is, and probably the Anna has a default way of playing by doing this, well, following the team's path, just a little bit delayed, right? And so to watch this, let's play this out. So you see, basically a team walks through and I try to follow, but then die to Tracer. So we skip a little bit forward until Anna is respawned, like now. Now the enemy team has made it to the spawn. So there's actually not really a positioning you can talk about. So we skip a little bit further. So now Anna is back in the fight. So where does she position? Well, many funny blue lines on my screen. Don't know where they come from. Well, basically she just walks to her main tank, right? She doesn't know where specifically to position. She just tries to reach her team without dying. There's nothing specific. Then the team's contesting this point. So where does Anna position? Well, she learned, well, there's a Tracer on my back, so I just run to my Mei and hope I find safety there. And that's fine. Again, low level Anna doesn't have much experience what can happen in total, so a valid decision, I would say, right? If you're low level Anna, you might say, yeah, well, just go to your Anna, to your Genji, then if Tracer comes, she will get clapped. Like a higher level Anna might have positioned onto the high ground maybe, or on this mini health pack, I don't know, whatever. It really doesn't matter for this guide. Maybe, yeah, it really doesn't matter. Maybe stay here behind, on low ground behind this cover somewhere, so you know, just so you have shooting lanes with car and stuff. It doesn't really matter, right? Depending on if you're gold or if you're diamond, your positioning will change because you have more experience where to position. Is that so? This is just what my Anna was more or less thinking. And we just want to take notes what Anna is most likely thinking. So she just goes to her team and hope she's safe, more safe there than being alone against the Tracer. Oh, valid decision. Now Winston jumps in. She just tries to stick with her team. Perfect, valid decision. Drops back to the mini house pack. Well, gets a little bit out in the open. She gets Tracer from the side, but doesn't react to it, and then gets clapped by the Tracer. Again. Small mistake here again, running away from your team. Minor thing, Genji tried to help, but Anna was running away from the Genji, so Genji had a harder time to reach the Tracer. So in general, it's a side note. So if you are getting attacked, here is an Anna. What this Anna does, she kites back because she wants to get away from the Tracer. But what happens is, for Tracer it really doesn't matter. But for a team it matters, because the team needs to now walk the same distance to help the Ana. What she should have done instead is just run to her team, and not away from her team. Or basically through cover and then to her team. One of both. Yeah, so just general mistake. But we just note what she roughly does. She comes, she gets attacked, she runs back. Right. So, runs away from the team. So that's roughly what this Ana does. Now, this Ana gets harassed by this Tracer. So she tries to switch. And then she switches to Moira. You can see in the top right. Yes, you can see. So now the same player switched to a Moira. And now later in the game, the same player switched to Kiriko. We scroll past. So basically the re-round, and you see the player has switched to Kiriko, and now it's playing Kiriko. And now this is where the problem starts that I actually want to discuss. Let's see this Kiriko play, okay? Well, low level, so Tracer, so very chaotic fight. So like Genji Tracer fighting there, Hanzo Tracer fighting here, the enemy, like you're tanking somewhere in the back, because no one knows where to position, right? Low level gameplay, it's fine, low sound. Like you can't have experience and stuff. So, now if you see this positioning, and the thing is, what you see here is, and this is where the problem starts. If you see this Kiriko gameplay, you might ask yourself, is this actually the way you would position as a Kiriko? The thing is, if you now replace this Kiriko, imagine this is an Ana gameplay. So basically she would play the same way she played the Ana before. But now she's Kiriko. As Ana, you want to position a way that you can hit your anti-nades, or have overview over the entire battlefield and heal and damage enemies depending on what gets you the highest value. One of both. Or a mixture of both. Right? And so he chose safety by distance, so you could scope as Ana. And you would just shoot whatever with body shots and so on. But would you do the same as Kiriko? Is this the position Kiriko wants to have? This is a big question. How does Kiriko want to position? Well, Kiriko wants actually to have an aggressive line of sight on things that she can hit easy. What can she hit easy? Well, she can kill a Baptiste, she can kill an Ana, but they are both out of fight, so it doesn't matter, and she can kill a Hanzo, right? So in this case, yeah, well, might be okay as Kiriko positioning. Let's scroll forward a little bit. Now, as you can see, there's a teamfight going on here. So let's watch this one from her perspective. So she walks into this teamfight. She even uses teleport now. Why does she use teleport? Because she's in a very far back position, which is split from her tank. Is this how you actually want to be positioned as Kiriko? Yeah, well, maybe if the Hanzo is in the backline, you actually want to. That's actually true. Maybe you want to position with the Hanzo. But in general, if this is your team fight, if this is your front line, it's here. You actually kind of would like to have an off angle, maybe from up here, and shoot the enemy supports. Maybe. Maybe from up here and headshot something. Maybe be inside this small room and shoot past the shield. And that is my point. That now, while this position, if you look at the screen, this would be kinda okay for a low SR Ana. Why? You can throw your anti-nade, like heat above the shield, hit the wall, anti-nade the entire cast. If Ryan does a fire strike and drops the shield, you sleep dart him. You can heal your tank. Right? You are somewhat close to some cover, like not perfect again, low level play. It's fine, but you have cover options here, and just walk right side, right. So you can create shooting lanes and stuff to some degree. So as Ana, this might kinda work, this type of position. But the question is this a position you want to be as Kiriko? And now you see, Hanzo is dead. So now Hanzo is not a factor. Like now Kiriko needs now to find her own value as Kiriko. So what does she do? Well, she runs around and heals her horse and positions like an Ana. Like if you again look at this sideline. do you actually have a sideline to headshot something you want to headshot? Like, I mean, here's a scoping Anna. Like, this is a delicious food for a Kiriko. Headshots the Anna, she's scoping, she's slow walking. Well, maybe this Baptiste is not good at dodging. Maybe he shoots the Baptiste. Like back here, like Tracer Mora are fighting Tracer, like they should be fine, like 2-on-1. But now you as Kiriko, you want to get the value as Kiriko, right? But do you actually get value as Kiriko? No, she's just heal botting. Why is this Kiriko only heal botting? Doesn't she know that to shoot? Well, I guess she actually knows that she maybe watched a guide from ML7, maybe she watched a guide from Awkward. I don't know which guides she watched. But if you watch any content about how to play Kiriko, they will tell you you cannot heal bot. You need to headshot targets. You need to throw your kunais somewhere in between your healing. But if you watch this position, which options did she actually have to throw her kunais on good targets? And the answer is basically none. Her position absolutely ignores any option to do damage. And this is by choice. Because right now she can choose, where do I walk? Do I go right side to cover where I would position as Anna? Like, this player would position as Anna, right? I don't want to say that this is how you should play Anna. No, but this is how we saw earlier how this Anna would behave. Like, if this player plays Anna, she just follows her team a little bit in safety and cuts off sidelines to reduce the amount of damage she gets. So she doesn't need to use nade for herself. Then she can throw a nade on this wall and heal her tank. And that's the main condition for this Anna. That's how she wants to play Anna, okay? But the question is this how she wants to play Kiriko? And apparently yes, because that's how she plays Kiriko. But in theory, well, right now she could shoot something, but there's a difference between enemies, between you getting enemies to shoot at because enemies doing mistakes and you positioning in a way that you maximize your own value. These are two different things. Like, she could shoot the Baptiste because the Baptiste is kind of a little bit also wants to shoot basically behind Reinhardt's shield. That's what the Baptiste wants to do. And this Anna is on card for whatever reason. I do not know. So she gets targets to shoot at, but she kinda doesn't even consider it. And this is my point. This player switched from Anna to Kiriko, so she switched characters, but she forgot to also switch her win condition, switch her playstyles, switch her positioning. And that is the point of this video, something you should really not forget. If you switch characters, and this is true for DPS, for supports, for tanks, if you switch your character, you need to switch how you position, how you engage team fights. You need to understand, okay, what is the strong point of Anna, and that dictates how you position as Anna. What is the strong point of Kiriko, how you position as Kiriko. And I just want to discuss in theory your positioning. So let's create an imaginary situation, right? So you have basically a payload, I don't know, on the blue line. And so your tank decides that, let's say the enemy tank decides to hold this corner, so he puts up a shield right here. So here's Orion. And the entire enemy team is basically just behind him. So here, maybe here you have a soldier. Here we maybe have here, I don't know, a Junkrat. And then you have maybe, I don't know what you will have, a Zen and a Baptiste just randomly behind, not shooting for whatever reason. We do not care about them for now. They're just low-level players. We don't care. And now our tank, let's draw him on green, decides, okay, I just need to frontline tank this. So you have just a horse galloping in from the front onto the enemy main tank. And that is your team setup. And then let's say, okay, so we have also a soldier positioning on this corner, shooting there. So he wants to build a concave, and maybe you have, I don't know, a Mei together with your tank, just running together with your tank, and sets up our wall behind the enemy tank, right? Sets up a wall. So now you are playing support in this situation. The thing is, which support do you actually play and where do you actually position? And that is something you need to figure out for yourself, for your level, what you want to do. And again, don't focus so much on if you are positioned correctly for your character, but just make sure that if you actually switch characters, you also switch the way of your positioning. So let's, for example, you play a Baptiste. Where do you play as Baptiste? Well, you kind of want to see your own team. You want to see the enemies. You want to have somewhat of an angle. So you might want maybe to position around this corner. I don't know, maybe around this corner as Baptiste. So you can shoot down there the lane and shoot something, but you can also heal your entire team. Maybe. Right? Just an example. It really doesn't matter. What's the disadvantage? Well, you can also get shot by the enemy team, and you maybe cut off sightlets to your own support, so you kind of need to heal yourself. Again, not a guide about how to play Baptiste. This is not the main point of this video. It doesn't mean that you should Baptiste. It just means that but instead, if you play Kiriko, you kind of want to shoot past the enemy shield and hit the enemy backline. So maybe you want to play this corner. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. So maybe you want to play this corner, so you actually get a sight line onto the enemy Zen Baptiste soldier. Maybe you want to wall climb this wall and shoot them sometimes a little bit. So you actually get a chance of headshotting something. But let's imagine instead you're playing an Anna. So as Anna, oh yeah, no, I deleted everything. So I need to imagine everything. But well, basically we shoot down this lane, right? This is the main setup. So as Anna, you might maybe want to play back at this corner or this corner. So you can throw anti-nades on this wall, splash the enemy team, and just heal your own team and only have a reactive sleep dart if they actually engage your team. Because again, you have a Mei wall set up here, so you don't you will not get an aggressive side lane, right? Maybe as Anna. As Zen, well, you kind of have the same ideas roughly as we had with Baptiste Kiriko, so you kind of want to have somewhat shooting, but the Zen's kind of more okay to shoot the enemy shield and just do tank pressure. So this could off the tank, pressure the tank, so you want to shoot there. So maybe this angle here is perfect for Zen. Maybe you can also play a more safe angle, the same as you would play as Anna, and shoot the same tank, because you don't need to see the entire enemy team to shoot the enemy tank, right? And, well, what about Lucio? Well, let's draw the frog in green. Well, as Lucio, you kind of maybe want to speed in your tank. So you hop from here, then you hop to here, then you hop to here, and then hop to this wall, boop half of the enemy team in your team, and then hop back onto this wall, right? Totally different setup, but a totally viable setup, right? What would you do as Mercy? Well, as Mercy, you kind of want to support your aggressive players here, maybe. So they will stay around this corner, blue beam them. But then you see, oh, my soldier gets the position, my Kiriko gets the position. So then you fly over, hide behind these walls, and support this two. And then you fly back to this side. And you ping-pong between both sides how you want to ping-pong as Mercy. And the important thing is that if you switch from so if you play an Anna and you're positioned here, but then you get pressured by an enemy tracer coming into your face, by enemy Sombra, and they go from this side. And they say, oh, damn it, these flankers are really getting on my nerves, so I switch characters to Moira. And then it's Moira you position here. Then the question is, what are you actually doing with your life? You switch the character from Anna to Moira, but you're doing the exact same thing. But Moira has clearly different positioning requirements as an Anna with her anti-nade. Like, Moira needs to hit good orbs. Right-click the enemy team to get her heal back. Be in a distance to her team to heal everything. Be in the face of enemies to get their attention and distract as many enemies as they allow you to, because you have your fate and stuff to get away. Like, if you play Kiriko at this position, what are you doing with your life? What are you going to headshot if you shoot the enemy shield and your main wall? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Do you need to be here to heal your team? No, you can heal your entire team while being on an aggressive flank. You can even jump above this wall and shoot them in the back and then heal your team, or even just port to your team if you require to. Right? As Kiriko, you have really a lot of options. You can position above this wall, you can position on this wall. Like, Kiriko has insane mobility options that others do not have. So use these mobility options. Don't just play AFK Anna if you actually switch to a Kiriko. Make sure that you switch your characters if you switch. Make sure you switch your position if you switch characters. That is my main point. Now, if you play, don't know, like you have played soldier from this side, and so like a half offering and shot them, and now you say, oh damn it, I do not get enough value from soldier. I only see the enemy shield, so I switch to Ash because I want to bob and dynamite their face. Do you position at the same angle? Do you have to, or can you maybe just throw dynamite above them? Can you use the high ground behind them? Can you do different things on Ash that you cannot do on Soldier? Well, Soldier you can actually sprint around fast, right? So you can switch from here to here very fast, but you cannot actually go to any high ground. Like, if you are Ash on the other side, maybe consider to jump up from bottom to high ground and just throw a cheeky dynamite. Because walking from here, you see the enemy wall and you do nothing, right? So maybe just do this. Maybe jump up from this window from back there and do some stuff from this side. Because you have a coach gun, use it. That's my main point. You can't do this and this rotation on Soldier. But you're not playing Soldier anymore, you're playing Ashe now. So make sure you switch really in your mind to playing an optimal Ashe and find your angles onto the enemy backline. Be as annoying to the enemies as you actually can on Ashe. On Soldier, you can sprint around, what you cannot do on Ashe. So on Soldier, you can actually, well, this is an awkward place to play Soldier, honestly. Because there is not many options if the enemies are trying to do this choke, like what are you going to do? Right, there are not many options to Soldier, but maybe you can run up here and shoot them from the back and run back to a team fight on time before the enemies can rotate, because you have fast legs, maybe. So just consider that you need to switch your position if you switch characters as well. And this goes also the other way round. And this is the second part of this explanation. Yeah. So here we have a different spot. So let's construct again a random situation. So the payload is just around somewhere on this corner. And so the enemy team decides, well, they kind of playing this corner. So here is a bunch of enemies, right? And here, of course, and here in this door, and one of them is on high ground, it doesn't matter. And your team, of course, wants to stop the payload and counter that. So they kind of just, for some reason, they're not on high ground because they're idiots. And so your team is just positioned in this general area, right? And so now you as an Ashe player, you decide, well, I set up on this balcony so I can get the uncontested high ground because this high ground is contested, and you shoot down this lane. You can throw a dynamite or to here, you can shoot something on this flank, you can shoot the main pressure, you can shoot slightly above the shield because you have the high ground, so all good, right? But now what happens is, the enemy Winston, the enemy Genji, the enemy whatever, jumps all the way to this balcony and goes inside, so your team cannot help you anymore, and you are getting dived and you die. So what do? Oh, well, they have a Winston, so I switch to Reaper. Is something that you hear a lot. As you getting dived, just switch to Reaper. Hear a lot, usually. Now, what does this mean? Well, this means two things. The first thing is, if you switch from Ashe to Reaper, what do? You change your position from being up here isolated alone to being more with your team on the front line. Maybe. So now, instead of playing this position where you die, you play this position where you do not die. And here's the crux. Instead of changing to Reaper, you could also just walk down here with an Ashe. And this is a concept that many people ignore. Why? Well, because playing down here as Ashe is stupid, right? Ashe has zero value being here, right? It's far too close. Like why do you have a scoped character with 40 meter range if you play in their enemy face? Well, why would you do it? Well, because back here you died against the enemy Winston Reaper stuff, and down here you survive because you're with your team. So if a monkey jumps in here, well, you just clap him because you just jumped in 1 into 5 players. So of course you just get clapped and dies. And this is something that most players ignore. You get a little bit less value on Ashe. But the thing is, if you want to reach gold, platinum, diamond, and you do it by training Ashe, your Ashe gameplay will be a lot better than your Reaper gameplay because you have not trained Reaper. I know Reaper seems kind of easy to switch if you are on gold level, but this is a master game. Like, what is your chance to get anything done on Reaper if you have no experience on Reaper against Master 3, Cassidy, Doomfist, Lucio, and Anna? Like, you will get slapped, naded, booped, punched into a wall, and noob naded. Every single time you try to do anything. So you're stuck to play, just shoot shields from frontline. Is this getting you any value? No. Everyone else will outvalue you because you have no experience how to play Reaper. But if you actually play Ashe on this position, well, you have experience on Ashe. You know, well, maybe I can coach gun up, do 1, 2, 3 cheeky shots, and get value from this 1 to 3 cheeky shots, and then get back to my team. Maybe you know, oh, you can get here a sight line from a cheeky off angle and get 1, 2 shots on the Anna. And because you have the training on Ashe, you will actually headshot this Anna, make her fall back, and get value from this 1 or 2 shots. Because you have trained Ashe. And this is the other big concept. Like, if you think, oh, I have watched this guide where they said I need to play Anna from the faraway high ground. Again, same balcony. But then you get dived and by the enemy tracer, Sombra, whatever, and die. You died here. So what do you do? Well, you switch to Moira, and then you play here because you don't know how to play Moira, you have a scuffed position. But instead of doing this, maybe just play your Ana with your team instead. It's a little bit an awkward position to play Ana. It's a little bit less value, but you counter the enemies, so the enemies also have less value. Now, because you play there, because you're not a target for the dive anymore. It also goes the opposite round. Maybe the enemies have a widow, right? Maybe you want to attack this, and the enemies have just a widow positioned on this high ground. So the enemy widow is just standing here, together with some teammates, and you are an Ana, and you just so your team goes up here. So your team is up front here, and so you are just walking a little bit behind them, and you are here, and then what happens? Bomb, straight shot, you died, right? So what do you do? Oh, well, they have a stupid a widow controlling the long sidelines, so you don't play a long sideline anymore, so you switch from your Ana to a shorter sideline hero. Moira. Everyone always switches to Moira. Basically, below Platinum, everyone switches always to Moira and thinks, oh, Moira is such an easy character, let's switch to Moira and free value. Yeah, somewhat yes, but you don't train your character. And now, instead of playing Ana from here, you play Moira from here. Yeah, well, now you are safe, you can heal, you don't get sniped, easy peasy value, right? But what was holding you back from playing Ana from here? Why did you need to switch to Moira? You have invested hundreds of hours to train your anti-nade, your sleep dart, your projectile aim, your hit scan, scoped aim. You have trained all these things. And now you reduce yourself to a healbot Moira. Because there was one widow that hit you once. Like, this is not the way to play. And this is not only the way to play, but it's also not the way to train. And that is an even bigger factor. Every time you switch from your Ana, your Kiriko, your Baptiste, your main, to a different character, like Mercy Moira, that you have not trained because you think, oh, it's easier to survive the situation, you miss the opportunity to actually grow on your main character. You throw away the opportunity, oh, there's a widow teaching me to not peek long sidelines. You throw away the opportunity to learn something by just skipping it and avoiding the situation altogether by playing a Moira. But you're getting less value as Moira. Now you play a Moira with an untrained Moira, and you think you can still outvalue the enemy support that plays their mains on the enemy high ground? You still think you will get more value on some random off character because you get punished than the enemies on the main character? Well, if that's true, it just means that you suck on your main character. Right? That's a logical conclusion. If you get more value by switching to something you have not trained, like you have 300 hours on Ana, and you switch on your 5 hours on Moira, and you get more value, you kind of did not really train this 300 hours. You did not any... can you really play your main? Do you really know how to play your main if you need to switch? Well, and why can you not play your main? Because every time it got hard, you switched to something easier and avoided the learning opportunity. And that is the second thing. So you not only switch to something where you get less value instead of just adapting on your main. Like, you're allowed to play different on your main to try to get different value. That's adaptation in game is a very valid response. And adaptation doesn't mean you need to switch characters. It means you need to do something different. It doesn't mean you need to switch characters and do the same thing you did before. Like the worst thing you can do is die here on Ana, switch to Moira and go to the same position and now play with Moira from the same position. That is the absolute worst thing you can do. Not only did you not adapt because you just switched characters, you didn't switch playstyles, you now play a character that you have no training on. Additionally, you're just playing the character just wrong. You play Moira in a way where you get no value. Basically. Or Mercy. Now you play Mercy and you just yellow beam your entire team because you have never trained to blue beam with them. Like what's the point? What is the point? And that is the thing I want to basically discuss in this. I want to tell you, change your playstyles on your character. If you switch characters, always also switch playstyles. Like if you switch from Ashe to Hanzo, change your positioning. Hanzo can climb walls. Hanzo needs this one-shot opportunities, where Ashe needs a two-shot. Ashe has this insane bob where Hanzo has only his dragon. Like, you have different characters. Make sure you play different on different characters. And if you do not switch characters, if you decide, oh, I want to learn to do this situation on my main, adapt your playstyles. Just try first if you can just change the definition of good position from here to here, and then Widow is a non-factor. Like if you're here, what is this Widow going to do? And then payload goes up here, and then you go behind this pillar. What is this Widow going to do? You are always hidden. You outplay the enemy Widow. Why? Because you have trained on your main. So with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this guide, this video. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, please share, like, subscribe. The good stuff, you know, helping me out. If you have any more questions, if you want to see a demonstration, if you want to interact with me in any way, feel free to join my stream. I'm streaming on Twitch, so just check it out if you want. And thank you very much for watching. I love you all. You are awesome. Thank you for being here. Until next time, bye-bye.